Hello there, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this video where I'm going to be talking a little bit about the old world rankings, and I'm going to be doing a bit of meta stuff. So, um, Old World Rankings is a website that's been set up by a chap called Colin Goody, who seems like a decent bloke. It's a decent resource. There are improvements, I'd suggest. And I think I'll just go through those first, more than anything. So the first thing that I've noticed, and I don't know whether it's like a limitation of the software or whatever, but the global overview is literally just this. So I don't know whether I'm using it wrong or, I do need to support at some point. But anyway, I don't know whether I'm reading it wrong or whatever, but the global faction stats, you can't seem to. Can you? Have these? It used to be. Is this? That's UK. Yeah. So the Masters rankings. So basically, what he's done. Right. Sorry. Start at the beginning. So what he's done is he's developed a system that essentially pulls all the data from tournaments from a variety of different sources, which is pretty cool. So if we just go to like latest results, every time you go into this kind of screen where it's like showing you results and stats, it does show you upcoming as well, so you can find stuff that you want to go play as well, so it's pretty good. And then we've got finish down here where, it's literally going through, But then it allows you to visit the site that he's got the data from, and you'll see it's new recruit, best coast pairings, Longshanks. That's the other one, isn't it? Where you can, so it's pulling data from pretty much everywhere, including stuff like this, where doesn't exist. That's annoying. Where people have sent in Excel spreadsheets with tournament results on and stuff. So that's all quite cool. So he's pulling in an awful lot of data, way more data than I did when I was going through it manually, because to be quite honest, I couldn't be bothered to get the stuff off New Recruit. It was just took too much time to do it manually. And to be honest, Colin Goody's one of the reasons I've stopped doing my meta stuff, because it's like, if it's that easy to like just pull all the data, surely I should be able to do it. And then I had to go and spent a few weeks trying to figure it out and couldn't, and got frustrated and gave up. So this is essentially where we'll be doing meta analysis in future. And Colin, if you are still listening at this point, I'm going to try and like cover off my feedback in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and I'd really like it if you could put some of this stuff into place. So let's have a look at the faction stats. These are the global faction stats. Okay, so you can like drill down if you want. So if you want to see what's happening in the UK, you can do, but we can just go. You can go for literally just online results. So there's a few online tournaments, but not that much. Or we can just go for absolutely everything. So the first thing I'd suggest here is what Colin's got is he's put this. I can't really. I'm trying to point at the screen. I don't have two pointers. But basically what he's got is, you'll see that there, you've got within balanced range of 45 to 55%. If you could, please would you calculate the standard distribution or the square root of variance, same thing. Variance, standard distribution is the square root of variance. I don't know, what software you've got. So, sometimes things don't do standard deviation, but do variance. So it's important to get that right, because variance is obviously a much larger figure. But anyway, if you could take the standard deviation of win percentages. So for instance, if you get a list of all like individual tournament results, they all give you like so each individual got a win percentage in that tournament, if that makes sense. So, for instance, if somebody's won 3 out of 5 games, their personal win percentage in that tournament is 60%. So, if you take the standard distribution of all of those and have that as the plus or minus, so it would be really useful to have like a faction normal range, which is what I was doing. So, with mine, to essentially give you an idea of like how like reliable that faction is at getting those results, but also like it's also really helpful for players, so then they know globally how well they're doing with that faction. Because if a faction is doing really well, so Tomb Kings here having a 49.6% win rate, you know, what is their normal kind of what is normal, right? Is it 49.6% plus or minus 20%, for instance? You know, so, and what we're looking for there is, does that normal range include extreme results? So if you add in like one standard distribution to Tomb Kings, does that get you over 80%, for instance? And if it does, that's a bit of a problem, because then that means it's normal for that faction to be winning 4 games. However, it is really nice to see that the win percentage has come down quite a bit for Tomb Kings, and in particular the Mortuary Cult. So it seems that, you know, the tournament data I was getting last year, that's the meta has changed since then, because mortuary cults, you know, were riding very high, and now they've started to come down a bit. This is obviously all before the new errata, so, you know, they've changed the rules sufficiently that I think we are in a new edition, more or less. So it's like, you know, Warhammer Old World, you know, 1.1 really, more than anything. It's not 2, it's more of a 1.1 really. But yeah, that would be, you know, that would be really helpful if you could, rather than having that arbitrary balance range, you have like a calculated normal range, so people can understand like where they feature into the where they feature. What he's done here as well, though, is if they're like below that win rate percentage, he's highlighted them as like a red. So these factions are all too low. Is that what you're saying? Like and that's why if you have a normal range, you can then start to sort of separate stuff out. What you can also do is like a T distribution, but you can reverse it. So you can ask essentially the computer to calculate where the populations are. That only really works if you're looking to divide this into 3 subpopulations. So, you know, but if you were to, I mean, if you want, like I said, I'm going to stop talking about this, the methodology here around about 10 minutes in. But if you want, you could do like the factions at the top who post significantly different results at the top, and the factions at the bottom who post significantly different results at the bottom, and then the pack in the middle, right? So you could do that with like a reverse of a T distribution, and I can't remember what the bloody form, what that procedure is called, but what that formula's called, but that would be really, really super helpful. So then you could see who's overpowered, who's objectively overpowered, who's objectively underpowered, and then who's like in the pack. Combined with the normal ranges, I think that will be a really, really, really strong and sufficiently deep analysis of the data that would allow everybody to draw some pretty solid conclusions as to, you know, as to what's actually going on in the meta at the moment. Now, I could work it out myself if I got all these numbers off here, because because it tells you what those win percentages are. So but is this only out of, this isn't out of G, so I'm not sure how this works, this faction win, because if you're including 5-game and 3-game tournaments, obviously there's going to be very few 4-game wins, because, well, a number of the tournaments that you're reporting on hasn't even got 4 games. So I'm not really sure what this is supposed to display when looking at all tournaments. You can select GTs, which is a really useful function. Oh yeah, and also this 45 to 55% win rate. I don't think you should be highlighting that anyway, because like there's going to be a lot of draws, especially now they've changed the goalposts. But I think Old World is a game where you will see more draws than any other. So if you're going to have an arbitrary win rate, it's got to be like, 40 to 50. Well, not even 40 to 50. It's got to be like 35 to 45, maybe. I don't know. But that's why I think doing the normal and splitting the population is better, because it shows you what, rather than you trying to work out what the win rate should be, you, by just saying, well, this is what's happening, you're avoiding the problem of all, because here you're expressing an opinion saying this is what I think the win rate should be, whereas actually we don't know what the win rate should be, and we don't know what it is, so yeah, that's cool. He'd also done some analysis somewhere where he's been looking at pre and post battle tome, something like that, which is really cool, but I don't think it's here. The podium distribution chart I quite like. It doesn't really say anything, in isolation. It's just interesting to see who's winning tournaments. And, I don't think there's any, I can't conceive of a way to present this data that, what is interesting to me is that Warriors of Chaos podium a lot, 67 podiums, maybe like podiums as a percentage of appearances. So if you had like a little stat down here or something, like how many Warriors of Chaos players were podiuming. And the other chart that I really liked was my all or nothing chart. So if you could do something like that, that'd be great. Which is essentially what percentage of results get 0 wins and what percentage of results get 5 wins, and then it shows you like how extreme a faction is really. Because if you look at Skaven on that, for instance, I bet there'll be loads and loads of players that are getting 0 wins. Like I think at one point last year it was like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 Skaven appearances at tournament ended up with 0 wins. So that's an interesting stat to look at, essentially where stuff's getting a bit worrying. Right, I said 10 minutes is now 12. Sorry, Colin, if you're still watching. That'd be great. Right, so let's have a look at some results. It's pretty good, but you got to go through so there's nothing that's post FAQ. So there's nothing. So really, I'm just showing you how this website works. You can also you can go on here and submit your event. So if you've got an event that you want to, hold on, go away. If you've got an event that you want to, obviously I thought submit would have a portal, but anyway, so you can send Colin your stuff and he'll add it on. And if they don't publish lists on the tournament, you can go in yourself and submit your army list later for people to look at, which is pretty cool. The thing links to army list, so you just click here and it's pulled the army list off, which is pretty good, pretty decent. And then when you click on show army list, it opens a new tab and reports that event in that particular. And also, like, you get like smaller tournaments in here as well, because I had a minimum 10 players to look at it. I still think tournaments need to be slightly representative of the meta rather than just having like 6 wood elves turn up to it. Do you know what I mean? It just feels a bit like, but it's up to you. By the way, County Dublin is not a state; it's Northern Ireland, and there is another one called Wales. So this is the United Kingdom is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is a confederacy of the countries of England, Scotland and Wales. And that's what makes up the UK. Just, out of interest. He's not put all the Australian state. I think he is Australian. Anyway. So there's not really been much going on event-wise. I think there's been some interesting events in the States, haven't there, over the last few weekends or over the last weekend? Wasn't there a 5-rounder somewhere? Oh, that was a few weeks ago where Jeff won with the new Beastman list, which is pretty cool. Phil Cole turning up again there. And then, of course, like the Masters rankings, whatever, the rankings are not official. Luna's top again, of course, with Britonia, loads and loads of medals, won some tournaments, got second place, blah, blah, blah. You got Phil Carl literally just behind, Blue Forwards. These names are, not massively new. They've been there since essentially Old World started last year and doing incredibly well. So that's the United States. They're the people to beat. Luna's now. How this works is a pretty typical. I don't like this, but I accept it's how people do things. So your ranking score is calculated based on essentially how good your result is at an event, plus you get points for the size of the event, up to a maximum of 100. So you see here, Luna's actually got 120 points because 5 wins corrected by the number of players gives her a total tournament score for this tournament of 120. She actually maxes out at 100, so that's that. And essentially your season masters rankings for a year is your three best results. So actually, in order to get a ranking, you just need to go to 3 tournaments and then you've got a ranking. Which, and also obviously if you've gone to 10 or so, then you're more likely to get a higher ranking because you're more likely to have done better at more events, basically. So attending more events is obviously how you get to a good score. So that's pretty cool, but there's no global, which I'm not sure why he's done that, to be honest. It would be interesting to see what the global would look like. 4th best. Okay, so in the States, it's only your 3 best results for some reason. In the UK, it's your 4 best results. Stephen Toll, Jack Ward, Keith Wilkinson. Keith Wilkinson's was quite quiet last year, and he seems to have cropped up quite a bit recently. That's interesting. Jack Allen used to be near the top, and he's sort of fallen off a little bit. Ed Fawcett of Squarebase there. I really need to go to more tournaments. Dr. Luke Blackshill is there. I think he's done some stuff in the US as well. So yeah, I mean, this is your. Some of these names are very, very, very familiar, but I wonder if has he got 3 or 4? No, it's 3 in Australia. I don't know why UK's 4. We got more tournaments or something. France is 3. Is it just literally just Sweden got a load? No, Sweden it's 3. Okay, UK you need to do 4. Okay, cool, and that's 2025. Was 2024? Was the 3 best? Yeah. So your objectively best player in the UK for 2024 was John Dale, Toon King. Toon Kings, largely Toon Kings. In fact, all Toon Kings. Scott Reed, James Ramsey, Jack Toll. Russ Veal gets there with his Warriors of Chaos. Did he? I'm not sure how many. Oh, yeah, and then if you click on a player, you can see their personal win rate, what they've played as, he's done 6 tournaments, won 4 and came runner-up. Massively jealous of Russfield. And these are the tournaments he's been to. In fact, in tournaments, he's only lost 1 game, which is at this 3-gamer, which didn't actually contribute to his overall score. But who actually managed to beat the Russ? Does it actually say? Right, so if we click on BCP, so this is, I really do like this kind of like software that like pulls other stuff together. It's really clever, like getting other systems to talk to each other and like integrating wherever you can with other systems. Like, it's very. He lost to Emir Rice Roberts, who had dwarves. Yeah. I'll do that later. Right, dwarves are always a particular problem for... I'll just log in. Oh, it has logged in. What's going on? It's not logged in. Would you like a cookie? No thanks, but you're going to have one anyway. Okay. All right, let's do that again. And Russville. It's probably a bit unfair to pick on the one that result he's lost, but you know, it's an out. I don't know why I'm focusing on Russ. Anyway, Thane, Runesmith, Master and Gronwell. Oh, 5 Iron Drakes, who've just been nerfed, even though they didn't really need it, but whatever. Yeah, so that's the old world. I'm going to be using this as a resource, I think, almost exclusively going forwards. So, because it's pretty good, actually. I'd encourage you to get involved. But yeah, so I will be going through. But yeah, it would be really helpful if this kind of, you know, would. And like I was thinking about when I was doing this video, like, do I go for an hour or so and like try and find tournaments and comment on stuff and lists and things? But like, really, I don't see the value in that, to be honest, because we've just had a new FAQ and you know, the lists that were good are not going to be good. So
like if we go for, let's just have a look at so here was a recent GT, Black County Country GT, Owen Conway. Congrats, managed to win. He's got Prince Apophis, which you don't see very often actually. He's got High with the Scroll of Transmogrification, which again you don't see very often. Royal Herald, BSB, Banner Desert Winds, Flail, Armor, Tomb King on a Dragon with Armor of Ages, of course, which they still haven't sorted out. So you're still re-rolling wounds against a dragon, which is ridiculous. We've got some skirmishers, a big unit of warriors which causes terror, and a couple of Necrosphinxes. That's not a fully optimised list, to be honest, and he's managed to win a GT with it. So going forwards, what would be impacted? Well, the Necrosphinx would be losing its +1 to combat res because of close order, so they've had a bit of a nerf. That warrior block is now way better because he gets to fight in an extra rank, basically, because of infantry. And also the +1 to combat res for infantry outnumbering, this is going to benefit from, so that's worked. All of this, same. I don't think any of this has actually changed, has it? Oh, flails get Armor Bane 1 on the charge, don't they? So you get the strength bonus and Armor Bane 1 on the charge, but otherwise they're just AP 1 or something like that. So yeah, actually I don't think this list has really been that affected. So, yep. Jake Bucknell has Hag Tree, Fashion, Ruby Ring of Rune, Chariot, Razorgore, Gore, Dragon Ogre, Razorgore, Herdstone, Shaggoth. I mean, yeah, the Shaggoth has lost out a little bit, but, you know, not massively. He's given it the full plate Chaos Armor, of course, but it's got Armored Hide too, so that's basically got a 2-up save now. And a 5-up ward because it's got Chaos Armor, so that's, you know, that's a pretty difficult thing to deal with. So that's cool, and you'd probably do that anyway. But then again, like, it's 319 points. You compare that with a Cathayan Sentinel, for instance. Yeah, I think you'd take the Sentinel. Oh, would you actually? Toughness 5 with a 2-up, 5-up, or Toughness 6 with a 5-up. I think you take the Shaggoth, wouldn't you, actually? Well, yeah, but that said, the Cathayan Sentinel does a lot. There's a lot more output. So I don't know. It's finely tuned, that calculation, which I guess is what you'd probably want. But yeah, I mean, so that army's not really going to be affected. I'm just trying to find an army that's been absolutely massively devastated by the rules. We've got this Master Screams. It's a list of Screams, which I hate, but that hasn't been nerfed. you know, I hate playing against it because it's such a negative play experience. Like, it's not good. But yeah, well done to those two. And I love this. I love seeing tournaments where the winner hasn't won all their games, which means it's tight at the top. Do you know what I mean? And that means Bryn only gets 79 like player points to this. Did you just get 100? Oh, sorry, I misunderstood what I was talking about with Luna. I thought this was the points corrected for the size of the thing, but then that was so you just get. Do you always get 100 for winning, or I thought event size had a bit of an impact as well. Uh, I haven't been to any tournaments for bloody ages, so I've been playing obviously, but you know. Yeah, not since then have I been to a tournament. That's bloody ages ago, isn't it? That's last August. Oh dear, dearie me. Yeah, I got 69.7.9 points for that. Okay. I need to go to more. Right. In fact, let's use the upcoming feature to see if I can find one. Durham GT. I can't do this weekend. uh, Maybe Summer Realm Slam. That sounds like a. Ooh! Sanctuary Games. I like it there. Yeah, anyway, so it's. Oh, Glory of God. Oh, God. To be honest, I don't like how they I just don't like the way it fits. I don't like how they've written it because they've just given it all the. They're just like, oh yeah, everybody else's cool toys. You can just have everybody's because you're just brilliant, aren't you? Because we love Chinese money. Sorry, we love China. Bloody Games Workshop, honestly. Right. Yeah, so you can see you've got all the upcoming tournaments. Oh, I quite like Facehammer. I've only been to one of their tournaments ever, but it was really good. Yeah, so Lincoln. That's just around the corner from me, and that's on the 12th. 18. Oh, I don't want to play 1,800 points. Right. Sorry, I'm just muttering to myself, really. So, what to say, really? So the meta has changed. I guess like maybe it might be worthwhile to spend 10 minutes talking about like who's most impacted. In fact, yeah, let's have a look at the faction stats. This is all events, all faction tournament appearances. So win rates. Tomb Kings of Khemri, have they been significantly impacted by the meta changes? So I think to an extent, yes. The Necrosphinx isn't as good because they've generally nerfed big monsters, sort of. They've stopped them from being able to be killed by massive units of poisoned attacks, which is okay because not every faction has access to those. In fact, it's only really Tomb Kings and Orcs and Goblins that can do massed poisoned attacks, and that's only because they've got cheap options to fire with. Other factions can do it; they're just not as cheap. So, it works particularly well for Khemri, and I say other factions can do it. I've said that, and I can't really think of any off the top of my head. I mean, I know Skaven can, but their poisoned ranged attacks are gutter runners, which are like 18 points a model. They're very expensive. So yeah, they've got a really good effect, but they're quite expensive. Which again is why I'm a bit annoyed about the changes to poisoned rules, because again it's another Skaven nerf by the back door when they don't really need it. But anyway, so Skaven can do loads of poisoned attacks, but I say loads, but they can do loads of poisoned attacks, but it's a very expensive loads of poisoned attacks. Like to get off 60 shots, you're looking at spending like 1,000 points to get 60 poison shots, which is a huge amount of your army that once it gets into combat, I mean, gutter runners aren't that good in combat. They've got double hand weapons and, again, poisoned attacks, but like, and decent initiative. But the real issue is that, you know, they've got poor toughness and no armor, so somebody charges them and they just die. So anyway, so Tomb Kings, I think there's going to be a slight negative impact on them, but not really. What I think might happen is you might see more Royal Host, actually, because Sex was pretty cool, and he's not lost out at all from the recent rules changes, so, you know, that's cool. In fact, your ridden monsters, they've lost their, like, close order, so combat res will be a bit tighter for big monsters, I think. But they've not really suffered any particular nerfs. Bretonnian Exiles, they've not really suffered anything massively. Apart from the Falkenhorn of Fredemund being made once per game, I think that's going to have an impact on Bretonnia because you see it in every list because it's so good. You might not see it in every list now because not every opponent flies. So, you know, something that you can do every turn, you know, is so totally overpowered against forces with flying troops that you can absolutely decimate them by essentially just blowing it every turn. Now you can't, and you can only use it for one turn. Like, is it really worth it? You know, because who realistically are you going to use it against? You're going to use it against dwarves to stop them being able to, you know, get their gyrocopters up the table. And you can basically, you know, the old rules, you could turn off dwarf and gyrocopters for the entire game, essentially. Whereas now, you can only do it for a turn. Is that worth 30 points? Possibly. 40 points, sorry. Probably, actually, because, you know, in that turn, they just fly up and kill probably 40 points worth of stuff. So, you know, it probably is still worth it if you're playing dwarves. If you're playing against Bretonnia, it doesn't really matter because, like, well, because, like, they've already got high move anyway. Pegasus Knights have already got, like, move 7 or 8 or something. So, like, if you take fly 9 off them, they lose a bit of move, but not that much. So, and they're still, and they're not Bretonnian Royal War Horses or whatever the hell they're called, which basically get LA to reroll a 1-2 charges. However, Bretonnia will benefit from the changes to Swift Stride, because Swift Stride is just roll an extra dice now. So instead of the old charge rules were roll 2 dice, discard the worst, roll another if you got Swift Stride, right? The new rules are you just roll an extra dice and discard the worst. So you get to roll 3d6 instead of... Now, in effect, that is actually a lot better statistically. So you're much more... Well, I say much more. You're marginally more likely to get that 9. It was pretty likely already, to be honest. But you're marginally more likely to get that 9 now. So I think they've benefited from that, but also lost out a little bit from the Falkenhorn. But not that much. They can still win games without it. Creation Warhost doing well is surprising. I do find that surprising. And I haven't done my high elf review yet, have I? So I might do that. Actually, can I... Oh, how am I going to do that? Why? I can't just click on that and get creation results. Have they actually been winning any tournaments, Crace? According to this, no. So that's interesting. Although, has he got any of the sub... Yeah, he's got exiles down there. Mortuary cults. Royal clan. I've got a few results in. Wolves of the Sea. 6 first place for Wolves of the Sea. But again, that could be small events. Don't know. There's no breakdown here. Top lists. I want the last... here's where he's started to do... Oh, this is cool. June 25th. Oh, June 25th was the errata date, was it? So there's June 29th tournaments, all... I wonder if any... If they... Because sometimes they just play the old rules. I guess they would have done, wouldn't they? Interesting. So these are all kind of with the new meta then. Andy Lamb there. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll wait for some more results to come in, I think, before. Yeah, sorry. Before I got distracted, what I was looking for was a Crace list that had managed to win a tournament, but that's quite difficult to. I'm not sure how to. I bet there is like, stats and ladders as well. It says up here. Some report excludes players. Right. So Crace, I think they're going to go from strength to strength because the infantry changes 2 ranks of great weapons. It's absolutely ferociously nasty. So Crace is going to go up in the world. Bretonnia, I think, will come down a bit. Mortuary Cult, again, Necrosphinxes have had a slight nerf, but it's not that bad. I still think they're too strong for their points. Errantry Crusade, is very good. It benefits from Swift Stride and loses Falconhorn, but I think the benefit from Swift Stride changes is, considering they get to reroll 1s on their charge dice, so I don't know how you were playing it before, but technically the Swift Stride dice wasn't a charge dice, so you weren't allowed to reroll 1s with that for the Bretonnian Royal Warhorse, whatever, whereas now you can. Vampire counts have possibly got a little worse because of the nerf to monsters. Bray Herds have got stronger now. Royal Clan have got much stronger. So have Warriors of Chaos and arguably High Elves. Wood Elves, I think, have just lost out in total, both from their Arcane Journal and the recent Errata changes. Heralds of Darkness. Now, a thing to mention about Chaos is that the Chaos Knights have got countercharge now built in, which is fantastic. Actually, that makes Chaos Knights, I think, possibly the best cavalry in the game, considering that you're paying a core tax with them as well. And Heralds of Darkness is just all knights, so I think Heralds players will be very happy with this errata. Chaos Dwarves, I mean, it doesn't really matter what's in a rule set because Chaos Dwarf players, so Chaos Dwarves still have a very good character. They've still got an S tier character. They've still got S tier artillery. They've still got A tier, if not S tier infantry. They've still got S tier fast cavalry. So they've still got all the tools to do the job, and they've got the ability to turn off Swift Stride, which now Cathay have as well, but they've got the ability to turn off Swift Stride, which I think is pretty impactful. So Orc and Goblin tribes, I think they'll be happy with this because, a big greenskin horde, like lots of infantry, I think they'll be good at that. Nomadic War, I think, will be unhappy. Royal Hosts should be happy, especially... I mean, the changes to poison doesn't really affect them because... So when I've been building out, or I think I've actually played a game with them, with somebody where I'm ashamed to admit I couldn't be bothered to go out and get a set trial, so we just did a base. But that plays quite well. I think they'll... So what I did is I put... What was it, 20 spears and 40 archers into a unit, because you can essentially do a combined arms thing with Royal Host. And that paid pretty much my core tax. And I put the poisoned attacks on that, which I still would, to be honest. Troll Horde has seen no real benefit or drawback from the rules, so I think they'll be okay. Demons, again... I guess actually fighting in 2 ranks for stuff like Demonettes is now pretty good because the fighting rank is 2 ranks, isn't it? But you still need to be in base to base to use your full attacks complement. So yeah, Bloodletters I think will be quite happy with that because they've got Cleaving Blow, haven't they? Plague Bearers won't be happy with the changes to poison. And what's the other one? Tzeentch. I don't think Tzeentch will much care about stuff that's in the FAQ, really. So demons, I don't think will mind. Wolves of the Sea do have some strong infantry options, so they'll be reasonably happy. Dark Elf players, I think, won't care. They still need a release. Empire of Man, you know, I don't understand how Empire are bottom of the rankings still. And can I? Wowee, Crace has been absolutely blowing up over the last, since the High Elf book. It's been like the most successful faction. I desperately need to find a list, don't I? So Empire, where's Empire? Yeah, Empire are still rubbish. The City State of Nuln is not much better, and dwarves are still, yeah. Royal Clan works sometimes, but other dwarves. Yeah, I think Skaven will be unhappy because they've just had a little nerf. I mean, yeah, they can fight in T ranks with rubbish rats, but nobody cares about that. And Lizardmen are still, they seem to be like at the bottom at the moment, but are they? Yeah, they're second bottom at the moment. So, you know, Lizardmen need a book. But I think in terms of like the meta, in terms of how it will change, I don't really see an awful lot changing. Maybe Chaos starts to slip up. The not slip up as in make mistakes, but slip upwards along here. I think that's probable. Again, the buff to now the nerf to Chaos Warriors, and the downside is that they've banned the Chaos Dragon effectively, because you've got a 500 point cap on characters in a 2,000 point list, because you're not allowed to spend more than 25% on any one unit that's not named. So yeah, I maybe not having a Nurgle Dragon might be a problem. But actually, Chaos have got loads of other tools. They've got some really strong infantry options. So I could see them doing okay. You know, maybe if you took an army with lots of units of knights and a big unit of chosen warriors, I think that might be a good list for Chaos. So I certainly intend to try taking it to something at some point whenever I get around to actually organising to go to an event. So yeah, I think, you know, this is. I don't think the Errata is going to change much at the top, really. Hopefully, it just makes the game better to play, and hopefully we start to see some massive greenskin hordes again, because they're always cool to play against. But yeah, that's a relatively short meta video where I've just really gone through this old world rankings website. Which is, you know, pretty decent. I would like to find Crace. So Crace seem to be doing well, but I'm not sure that they've. Does he? So I can go here. And oh god, poor old wood elves. I feel really sorry for them, because like they've been really hardly done to. Lincoln Imps GT20. Oh my god, they had a tournament at Lincoln. Why did I? Idiot. Lincoln's just down the road from me. Well, I say just down the road. It's about an hour down the road. So Lincoln and Nottingham are my two like local cities, as it were. Well, Lincoln, Nottingham, and Peterborough. But Christ, Scott Oliver. Right, let's have a look at Scotto. He's got a prince on a dragon. Now look, see, this character is now illegal because you're not allowed to spend 500 points or more. I mean, basically, you just have to take off the dragon helm, maybe, or the opal amulet. Oh, definitely take off Sword of Might. Yeah, get rid of the Sword of Might, and yeah. So he can get that within 500 points easy. We've then got an archmage on foot with high magic, a noble with the banner of +1 toughness, who's also on foot, and presumably, Yeah, this is a pretty decent line. Yeah. So you got a ridden dragon that's going to go around and do ridden dragon things. This noble probably goes in the white lion block who don't have hordes, so it's probably going to be a 7x3 because that'll make it 21. These are all like +1 toughness now, so they're all toughness 4 because of the banner of resilience, which is pretty decent. And then they've got the great blades and heavy armor and stuff. So that's a pretty meaty. And actually, the unit's actually only like 580 points. So it's not too much points concentrated in one unit. Then he's got some ambushes to deal with cannons and shit. We've got a couple of vanguard to get that quick little move off to get ahead, just to gum up the table. And then 2 units of sisters who are horrible to fight against. But one with the Bow of the Seafarer, which is quite smart because she's like BS6, so that's a good place for it. And one for a Ruby. So there's a lot of ranged damaged output going to come from these units. These get in the way. This kills cavalry and artillery, and this kills, artillery and stuff at the back of the table. You've got a dragon to do dragony things. And you've got a big block of infantry to kind of stick around and have a bit of staying power. So that's a good list, actually, Scotto, and I can see that being a good list going forwards. He can obviously use it well, so yeah. Interesting. Oh. How did I get to there from... Ah, here we go. So this is the Croatian. Have we got any from the last 7 days? Because these have been winning. Nick Walsh. Oh, he got 2-3. So none since the FAQ. Okay, none over the last 14. But it said they had like a 60% win rate recently, didn't it? There's one who managed to... It's a 3-game tournament. This is all regions. Okay, so top army list is all regions. Nice. And there's one here from... So here we've got a Croatian chieftain on a chieftain's chariot, prince on a dragon, blah, blah, blah. Under 500 points, it's still legal. A Stormweaver on a unicorn, which is interesting. I didn't think they were that good. Loads of woodsmen in little units to get in the way. Where does the damage come from? Prince on dragon? This is all defensive. This is all... It's got Ogre Blade. Huh, interesting. Yeah, probably lots and lots of chip damage from that. So, yeah. That's where we're up to. Errata, FAQ... stats, etc. Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty much I'm going to try to get to grips with this website a bit more and get to use it a bit and understand more of how it works, its methodology and stuff, because it is an absolutely brilliant resource. And actually, do you know what? I'm going to... Oh, I don't like Patreon. I'm going to... I don't like that either. I just whinge about bloody everything, don't I? Yeah, so I don't know what else to say really at this point. I think I've said everything I need to, really. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what your comments are. I mean, what do you think of the new Errata? Who do you think's going to really benefit? Who do you think's going to get stuffed? Who do you think's going to be bottom of the meta in a month's time? We shall see. We shall see. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope this has been helpful. Leave a like and a sub if you haven't already. And if you have, thank you very much. So it's always very well appreciated. And yeah, I do read all the comments, and I think I've responded to all of them. Although I haven't checked my community tab for a few days, so I probably haven't right as of speaking. But yeah, I'm going to do that now. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you found it enjoyable and useful. and I'll catch you again soon. Toodaloo.